they choke, they start to turn blue, and it's just scary, to see that, because then they're going to freak out even more. So with the, what's called like a limited pool or limited Titan martingale collar, you actually, to size it on a dog, you put it on and you actually pull it, the loop as tight as it can go. And that's actually how you measure with the 2-finger, width, or you can actually do a 1-finger width. And then that's the width that you tighten it. Like that's where it goes tight, basically. And so that way, when you let it go, it's loose. And that way, whenever you pull it, it won't ever go any tighter than like just won't slip off. Like it won't choke the dog.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so nice. Yeah, they're my favorite for sure.
And we try to make it out of it's the same material as seatbelts. Okay. So, we withstand like really strong pulling, because seatbelts, they have to withstand people being, thrusted forward. But also they won't fray, if you notice seatbelts in cars, like they don't fray, they don't fade, they don't, they last a really long time, and they're just kind of that softer, more pliable material. So that way it just feels better, it feels better for the dog, feels better for you, that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, we have 2 right now, 2 martingale collars. I have 6 dogs at home. And my husband is like, well, we buy way too many collars. We have so many just sitting around. They don't need more collars. And I was like, okay, we're going to buy 2 for now. Wink, wink. But
I'll have stripes on that.
Putting them in, if we do a little at a time, you won't notice. It'll be fine.
All of a sudden, you see a bunch of white stripes running around that.
Right?
Just like that.
Wait, I just remember all these collars being here before.
It's so fun. Yeah, and that's what we try to like emphasize to people is, this leash and this collar is so much more. It's a way to, once the word, the word is getting out, and once the word is really out there, people will just be able to see it. They'll be able to see all these awesome people, these awesome dogs. Unfortunately, there is still that stigma on rescue dogs or shelter dogs, and that they're like these broken down, like dirty, mangy, kind of beings. And we just want to make it where people can learn on their own. They don't have to be told, that they should rescue. They don't have to be explained why it's better to do that, or any of that. They can just kind of start to see, like, well, touch in on that FOMO kind of feeling. Like, man, all my friends have rescue dogs and they have this cool like leash and collar. There's even a time when I knew someone that was very adamant, like, I will never get a rescue dog. I will always, go to a breeder, because I don't want to deal with, a dog that misbehaves or issues or baggage or health issues. And she like was looking at her friend. She said, see, like that dog over there, and the dog actually had our leash. And she said, that's like, she goes, yeah, like that beautiful Doberman over there. And she said, that's a rescue dog. It has that like leash, and it just completely a total paradigm shift, occurred, because she's like, oh my gosh. And here in San Diego, we see the white stripes out pretty often, and she actually started to see more and more dogs, and more dogs that she thought were from breeders, but they're actually rescue dogs. And so she kind of it opened her and ignited that flame, that little kind of curiosity, that flame of interest, but it also let her see on her own, without, nobody likes to be lectured. Nobody yeah, you can tell somebody 100 times, like, you can get a purebred dog, you can get happy dogs, you can get, well-bred dogs, like really, quote unquote, like no health issues, like, from reputable breeders that people just give up. And it just kind of lets them, like, you can tell them as many times as you want, but until they see it on their own, seeing is believing, and until we can kind of let them sit there and say, like, oh man, like maybe, like, maybe we want to join in on this too. Maybe we should consider, helping out and fostering or rescuing and things like that.
You notice a change in the way that people respond to Mr. Breakfast now, and you, like, having with his ears cropped, have they changed their tune? Have you noticed the leash and collar on him?
So what's really cool is people still will say like, oh my gosh, what happened to his ears? What's funny is interesting is some people think that his ears are naturally that way. That's been a strange shift. I don't know if it's because we moved to a different area than we were before, or I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's because maybe I'm noticing it more. That could be it too. But whenever we tell people, oh, he has the two white stripes and this is the rescue dog, and they're like, oh, okay. And what's really neat is people will overhear and they'll go, oh, I didn't know that. And we do notice that whenever we tell somebody that, or even when somebody says, oh yeah, he's a rescue dog with the two white stripes, normally I would get glares of kind of like, oh, they crossed his ears. But now it's kind of, you see the faces turn to like, oh, okay, it's a rescue dog. So yeah, there is definitely a change and a difference. Like I said, we've already heard of some people, the white stripes really helping them out. One girl actually even told us that she moved to a new area and didn't know anybody, like a new state. And she took her dog to the dog park, and she also had a Best Like leash, and she saw two other people there with Best Like leashes. And she saw the two white stripes, and so she went over and she said, "Hey, like me too," And she was able to make friends, and those are still like her two closest friends now. So it's this creating of a community as well for people. It's not only saying, hey, this is a rescue dog, but it's also saying like, I'm proud, to have rescued my dog. Check it out, isn't it cool? But it's also a way for people to, we've been walking in Balboa Park, which is a big park here in San Diego, and we've heard like, hey, stripes, and they're pointing at their stripes, and so it's just this really cool kind of like not exclusive, but yet exclusive, community or this club, squad that you can be a part of that is really kind of bringing everybody together and also bringing more people into it, and creating more interest and curiosity around the dog rescue world.
I love it so much. I love that people are interacting with each other because of the collars and leashes.
So yeah, that was the first time it happened. I started crying. I was like, oh my god, I was like so happy. I was like, they saw the ever stripe, and we were a little while after kind of we started gaining more popularity. We were in the car at a stoplight, and I kind of casually looked over, and there's a dog sitting there, and he had the blue collar with his white. And I was like, oh. So we like waved at him and stuff, and we showed them ours, So it's been like heard other people doing the same. I went to the dog park and they said, hey, look what I got, and stuff. So it's been really cool to see this, kind of community on Instagram, but also in person, like real life, come together and just kind of start to show people, like look at these awesome people, look at this, dog rescue is not just for what I hear, people who can't afford to buy a dog or something, like there's weird kind of stigmas against it. And you can get puppies, you can get purebred dogs. Like it's just kind of starting to make an impact. And we're just barely at the tip of where it's starting. So I'm really excited to kind of see it grow and inspire even more people.
Have you noticed any pushback at all?
Not really. We've only gotten a couple of like questioning why, like, hey, why can't non-rescue dogs get the leash? And what we've always said is we're not saying you can't. We can't control who buys our leashes and collars. We appreciate the support, no matter what. So it's really not like, it's not like we're saying like, oh, if you don't have a rescue dog, you can't buy the leash. But it's kind of more of like in fact, if anything, like they have a beautiful dog, sure, let people think that it's a rescue. You're actually just helping the cause even more. But I think it's kind of like, walk around like with a shirt that says like, I'm adopted. And people are like, oh, you're adopted. You're like, no, I just support adoption. It'd be kind of weird. It'd be kind of like what? So it's just kind of more, people have just kind of like asked like, oh, why can't I get one? So you can absolutely get one. We're never going to stop anybody, from wanting to show the stripes, and especially if they donate, to our rescue. But it's really never been any negative feedback. It's more so just kind of been the curiosity out of that and kind of like clarification and just wondering really.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, where can people learn more about Best Life Leashes, the work you do? Like, do you provide resources on your website?
Yes. Yeah. So we have blogs, that kind of explain, what the white stripes are, why they're white, why two white stripes. So this is like, why we made it two white stripes. There's also a bunch of like rescue stories, of course, that, dogs that are on Instagram and things like that. It's kind of heartwarming and funny and happy tales, kind of deal. So we have a lot of blogs. We also have our podcast as well that we put as a blog post that you can find on YouTube. Everything associated with us is just Best Life Leashes. So if you look that up, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. We're not on Twitter, I don't think. We might be, but I don't think we posted anything. But also on our website, we actually have pages that say the story about the stripes, explaining them more, things like that. And then of course, just kind of other resources of how to keep your dog cool in summer and things like that, just for more educational purposes.
I forgot to ask, how do you clean the collars? Because I know my dogs they would rather be outside digging holes, especially if it's raining. So, like, are they easy to clean? Or
They are. So you can, we do have a blog up that kind of explains, how to do it. We also have a reel on our Instagram, but take a pillow sack or like a laundry bag, one of the mesh laundry bags. Pop the leashes and collars in there. Of course, make sure that there's no, like in the cargo pocket, take out any like chapstick or rags or anything. I made that mistake. And empty, yeah. And just pop them in the bag. We do recommend making sure it's with a full load of something like towels, so that way it doesn't hit, the side of the washer. Yeah, just don't use bleach. Don't bleach them because the dye will go away. Wash them on a cold water, gentle cycle, and pull them out and just hang dry them, and they will literally look brand new.
Yeah, that's always the biggest issue that I've had with collars and leashes is they get dirty and dingy, and then you can try to wash them, but they don't really come out.
Yeah, what's great about the polyester webbing, it's like the double knitted polyester webbing, the seat belt material that we use. It's meant to not hold in stains or odors. So even if we have Mr. Breakfast who can, he has oily skin, he has allergies and stuff like that, and it can get pretty stinky. We've also had it to where he sat on one of them and expressed his animal on it, and we all know how stinky that can be. It's kind of rude. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we just washed it, and I was kind of, this was when before we even released them, actually, we were kind of beta testing them. And we washed it and it came out and I was smelling the crap. I was like, but no smell at all. And the ones that we've had, we still use the original ones from when we launched, which was over a year ago. And people say like, oh, I guess they get brand new leashes every walk. And no, this is the same one that will pretty much, because they're meant to not fray. And there's been a couple of times where puppies have chewed on them, customers have told us. But what's really neat is if there is like a little tear, a little notch of a tear from chewing in there, it's designed for that tear to not be able to get bigger. Most leashes and collars, once it starts to fray, it'll eventually like make its way all the way through. But with the seatbelt, kind of material design, it actually kind of stops it from going any further. So the leash can still last longer.
Awesome. Well, Liz, thank you so much for joining me and teaching me a little bit more about your company. I love the mission. I love the work that you're doing, and I love the community that you're developing. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for having me and joining the Stripe Squad. I'm sort of excited. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you some more and just kind of watching your podcast.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.